Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Great Awakening Generator. I am your host, Rose McNair. Today, I am talking with Maria Rosa Qatar. Hello, Rosa.
Hello.
How are
Good
you
morning.
today? Oh, good. Well, we've just gone into afternoon. We kind of started in the morning, and now we've just
Oh,
gone into
afternoon.
afternoon.
Sorry. The sun is shining, so all is good.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful day. It is Anzac Day here in New Zealand and Australia, and so we are celebrating those that have gone before us. We are acknowledging their sacrifices, those that fought in the wars. So, good morning. Very quiet, peaceful morning. Yeah. So today I will give a little bit of a backstory about how we come to be talking together. So Rosa and we are part of the People's Health Alliance of New Zealand, the PHA for New Zealand. And this is where I find her on the Telegram channel, sharing all sorts of things, workshops, ascension symptoms, all of those things. And I thought, what an interesting lady from some of the information she'd been sharing. And I thought I wanted to have her here talking with me, telling me a little bit about her and her life and what she's doing for the collective, because I believe she's doing a lot of stuff for the collective. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with all of you as well, because there's some things that Rosa is going to talk to us about today that is going to be beneficial for all of you. So Rosa, before we start talking about that, tell me a little bit about you.
Right, I've got a very mixed background, meaning my father's Dutch German, my mother's Spanish,
Wow.
then I married Mexican. So my children, my two sons, are very, very mixed, but very handsome and smart. And so I can't ask for more.
Yeah, and I guess maybe having all of those blends of different cultures through the genealogy makes it quite unique, and of course, it makes you quite unique. Um, but you were born in the Netherlands, you said?
Yes, I was born in Rotterdam and I came to New Zealand in 1973 with
Okay,
just my parents and my brother.
okay,
Yes,
all right. And I would not have said that you're not from New Zealand. You have such a New Zealand accent. Um, but that's more than 20 years. And I've lived in New Zealand for what, 22 years. And people from South Africa tell me I have an accent, or I don't have the South African accent. And other people who hear it say, oh, I can hear the South African in you, the bossy South African. And it's like, yeah, okay. So I guess it's about when you, especially if I'm angry with somebody, then my South African accent kicks in. So maybe there's the same for you. I don't know.
yes, I swear in Spanish.
All right. So, what was it like having a Spanish mom?
Oh, amazing, amazing. I mean, God bless, she's not with us. She passed away before um, the first COVID. Um,
Oh, sorry to hear that.
yeah, so I've been, grieving for a while, but with time it gets easier. But I think with my two sons and um, my friends are my family,
Yes.
like like yours. So I don't have other family here. They're all in Europe, so they're very important to me. And I couldn't have made it without them. So and
Yeah.
without God,
Of course.
obviously.
Of course.
But yeah, life goes on, and that's why I like to keep busy as well.
Yes. Yes.
But I feel my mission. Um, I was guided. I felt I was guided. My mission is to get everybody together, because if we're not together, we may not get through this. We're more
Definitely.
powerful
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
we're united, right?
Yep. Definitely.
Some some of us may not think on the same level. Hey, and that's okay. But as long as we have each other's back, we understand and respect each other's differences, we'll get through it.
Yes, I agree with that. And just uh what are we getting through? I just because you said it and I thought, well, you know what? Tell us what are we getting through? What are we talking about here when you say we'll get through things? So what
Well,
exactly are you referring to?
to the changes in the world at the moment,
Yes.
the whole world, but mainly I need to focus on New Zealand. Although my family in Europe, I do worry about them, but I'm in contact with them all the time. Just what's going on, all the negativity, the control, the manipulation. It's not right. It's
Yeah.
not humanity.
No, it's
So
not.
that's why we need to stick together and do what we must do to stay strong and do whatever we can.
Mm, mm. So do you find that democracy has been an issue for us in
Oh,
terms of and democracy has been an issue in the sense that democracy is being thrown out the door?
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we're trying to in the things that are going on currently in our world, we're trying to maintain our sovereignty, our personal sovereignty, and also our that our right to choose, and also things that are going on in our world for the people by the people. It's that was crux of democracy, wasn't it? And in the definition of democracy was for the people by the people. And so we're
Yes.
having to do that because the powers that were the people that were given the power to actually govern us and do those things are doing things contrary to that. So
Yes.
yeah, so we're going through that phase. Do you feel New Zealand has come to this later than other countries?
In some ways, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
In some way, no.
okay,
I feel that we are the guinea pigs. They're
yeah,
trialing us,
yeah,
including Australia.
yes,
But I think personally, because we're easily controlled, because there's not many people, and we're on an island, and we
yes,
are isolated
yeah,
next
yeah,
to any other countries, so we can't get any help. Like
yeah,
if I was living in the Netherlands, this is what I hear from my family, as they're connected to Italy, to France, to Germany, to England. So you can just go in your car and cross the border to another country.
yes.
You can get support in so many ways where we cannot.
Yeah.
So we easily are controlled.
Yeah, a while back I wondered about that experiment. Are we an experiment? Are we a like the experiment? Also the responses to things, the way the pandemic was responded to
Oh,
by the authorities, and it kind of made me think, because we're a small population, 5 million people now. It's an easy sample to say let's try it this year and see if that works out. And for a time, I think the way things were coming out, you sort of had that underlying feeling of experiment, didn't you? In the last few
yes,
years, the way that they were delivering
yes.
messages to us and things like that. So
Mm.
I guess, I was talking to somebody the other day who said, that for her children, she had to stand up for the future, for herself, for the now and for the future, because if she didn't do it now, then the future was going to be a very different one for the children. And she wanted more than anything else for her children to have a life here that she grew up in, because New Zealand's always been a safe, beautiful place to be in. Yeah. We're very trusting because we didn't have to worry about things in the past. Not to trust. Yes.
Well,
So,
that's why my brought us here, because
yeah,
it's, and the Netherlands was a little bit overcrowded, so that's why we came here for peace
yeah.
and quiet.
Mm.
It's not actually happening now. So
No, no, it's not. And I said this to someone a while back too. I chose New Zealand for the fact that I felt that it was very family focused as a country when I came to New Zealand. It was also safer than where I was in a big, big way. And I never thought I'd ever want to leave New Zealand. But in 2020, at the end of 2020, I thought, I'm beginning to wonder if I should leave, because all my attempts for work had changed. It seemed like women in the same age group as I am, um, we were all struggling to find work. It's almost like we were being put on the back burner for the fact that we were a certain age. And then you suddenly saw younger people coming forward who were being employed because, for example, I work as a training consultant. Part of my work is a training consultant. And then somebody was offering me a training consultant role at $25 per hour, something that would ordinarily be $80 plus GST per hour. And I thought, how did I go from that to this?
Wow.
You know, and I'm a highly qualified, experienced person. I'm not, you know, I don't come with like less than that. What I am required, I come with that and a lot more of what I offer and value in a role. And that was what was happening. So it was kind of obvious that perhaps the doors were closing here and maybe leaving was the thing to do. And it didn't happen because, of course, if you were going to immigrate and leave to another country, you need money and things like that to get that going. And if you hadn't thought about it and hadn't been planning for it for the last 5 years, and you suddenly thought you want to do that, then you had to be in a very good financial position to do it. And I wasn't. And I thought, well, I'll have to wait. And here I've waited, and I'm here. But a lot has happened here that tells me that perhaps my place is here still. You know, I've moved from that thinking. So makes a lot of sense, right? What about you? Did you think you'd want to leave? Go back to the Netherlands?
Not really.
Okay.
The only reason why I would love to go is to be with my family and support each other through these terrible times.
Yes.
But I don't think the situation's any better anywhere else in the world.
Yes, I agree. Like I've never thought I want to go back to South Africa ever. I mean, I'd go for a visit, and I haven't visited for a long time too, and which makes me a not a very good child, because, you know, my mother's there, but my mother has come over here in that time, you know, to visit us, and so we've seen her like that.
Yes.
But I would go elsewhere, but I don't know that, and even like you're saying, I don't know that elsewhere is better. Where you are is where you are, unless you have to. If there's something really definite and it's absolutely aligned, I wouldn't be encouraging people to just leave where they are and go off because, you know.
But I suppose it's up to the individual what your heart and your gut tells you.
That's
but
right.
My gut tells me, why leave if I'm able to control part of my life where I am, where if I go somewhere and I'm totally out of control, like no control of my life at all, why would I go and take that chance?
Exactly. And this is very good thinking, isn't it? Because
and then also, you know, my one of my sons here, who's on team, so he still needs his mum.
Yeah, of course.
and my dad, who's not that well, so my place is here.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have just one family tie in New Zealand, and she was originally going to be going back. She'd come from Europe and she was going to go back, and then we had the pandemic and that kind of delayed everything. And then in 2021, she just thought not to go because it wasn't looking quite where she was going to, wasn't looking quite stable. And she thought if she had to come back, she may not be able to get back in because of all those MIQ facilities and getting into the MIQ facility, because citizens weren't allowed back, you know, the ordinary way at the time. But anyway, I don't know that we were actually going to talk about this, but we are. So here we are all this time, and I want to just say one thing to that is I agree with you, because my thinking too is, when I thought I wanted to go, then I didn't want to go, then I thought I wasn't sure I wanted to go. I was thinking, when you are in a place where you already have stability and you didn't exactly hate being there. I love being here, you know.
Yes.
It just felt like the doors were closing. And so a friend, I mean, just on the weekend, a friend of mine went to England. She's going to work in England for a few years now. All my friends of this, like I said, of the same age group, all of them that were going through this have left the country. And
wow.
And I'm still here, and I'm still here because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be here. But a lot of, would you believe, a lot of South Africans went back to South Africa? Where would you ever hear of something like that? But if you, South African community, a lot of them were leaving. to go back. However, that was then. Things are carrying on now. We're getting on. Current times are the way they are. One thing I wanted
Yes.
to talk to you, coming back to this, I want to talk about living in a tiny house because you live in a tiny house community. I was quite
Yes,
fascinated
I
with
do.
that. Tell me about that.
Um, well, where I was living in a lovely area out west, and but paying lots of rent with my younger son. But then my younger son said, "Oh, I'm going to live with my girlfriend." I thought, okay, that's fine. I was pretty sad for a little while because it was just him and I, all our lives together. And I thought, well, he's got to fly the coop sometime. I
Absolutely.
thought, how can I $450 a week just from rent, and then the groceries and the bills, so $1,000 a month,
Yes,
just me working, and then with the mandates, I could only do so much work.
that's right. Yeah. You mean a
Um,
thousand dollars a week, not a month, a week. All right.
oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's right. It's a
Oh
thousand
no,
dollars a week.
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I've never been very good at my math.
No, no, that's okay. It's a slip of the tongue, and I just thought I needed to say that for the benefit of the audience.
Yeah,
Yeah, a thousand
so
dollars a week. Yeah.
yeah, I'm really, really struggling. So I thought, and I've always liked my mum's wishes were always like for me to get my own little place. So I started looking, and everywhere I went in Auckland, all the builders were saying the same thing. To build your tiny house, we don't have the materials. They're coming from overseas. We don't know when.
Okay.
So no way am I waiting. I'm going to miss out. So I went on Trade Me. I saw this beautiful little cottage, tiny house, and then I looked on the bottom, the ad, Taranaki. I thought, what the heck? So here I go on an airplane to Taranaki, and the builder picked me up. He was lovely, and then we went to the tiny house, spent a couple of hours in there, and then I met his lovely wife. They'd invited me to a restaurant for dinner. Then I was dropped off at the airport. And then
Okay.
flying back, I thought, what the heck did I just do? I bought a tiny house just like that.
Awesome. Really good. Really good.
I had to get transported, which took about 8 hours on a transporter. They drive through the middle of the night, so there's
Yes.
obviously less traffic. And then a hired which is a machine that picks up the tiny house off the truck and spins it around. It looked like a little toy house. I was watching how they were doing it, and then they put it on the plot of land where I am now, in the
Okay.
paddock.
Right. Lovely. And of course, you like living like that. It's out of it's. I don't think it's off grid because if it's off grid, we won't be talking, right?
No, I have power and water, and that's included the rent.
Okay.
So just to give you an idea, it's just quarter to what I was paying before.
Okay. Okay. That's really good. Really good.
So much,
So,
so much.
so you have this piece of land where it's a tiny house community. So there's more than one tiny house there. How did you arrange that? How do you come to know about
Yes,
that?
well, that was the hardest part. The tiny house was the easiest part to find land, because a lot of landlords that have land is you're on a paddock, but you have no water, no power, so you're completely off the
Yes.
grid. And I thought, I don't know if I
Mm,
can do that
yeah.
for a day's holiday. And that's about it. So I had to keep looking until I found the right place. And I'm in Kumu, so it's not too far from Westgate or the Kumu village. Because for my job as a driving instructor, I need population, I need
Yes.
gas,
Absolutely.
not
Absolutely.
stations
Yeah.
further than. So I thought, okay. So I had to really, really do my homework. And no,
Okay.
I'm here 6 months and I'm loving it. The people are lovely around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something I was considering, like I was saying, but anyway, we can talk about that another time.
Never too late.
It's never too late. So, how do you come by the People's Health Alliance? How did you come to be connected to them?
Okay. I've known Rachel for a little while, the New
Okay.
Zealand coordinator. We started off a little business group. We've got a very good friend called Chantal who started this business group. Um, but just people are under mandates, right?
Right.
So a support, like a support group,
Okay.
and see if we can help each other and support each other within our businesses. And then Rachel, I was just magnetized to her. She's just like a little fireball,
She is,
full of
isn't
energy.
she? I agree.
Wow, so special. I mean, she's only half. Don't take this the wrong way, Rachel, but you're about half the size of me, but your brains are probably double the size of mine. And we had this amazing connection, and like she does with most people, and it just went from there,
Okay.
really.
Okay.
So there was only a couple of us in the group, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we had to at the time, right? When we had mandates, people had to pull together. And
Oh,
yeah, uh, people had to pull together. Sometimes I like to mention things like that because I think if you weren't in New Zealand or you just didn't understand, or if you were on the other side of the spectrum where
yes.
if a person followed all that and did the mandates and or was
Yes.
expected to do the mandates or were told you have to do this these vaccinations, otherwise you're out of work or whatever. um they had to do that, was their world, and they had to do that. And those of us who didn't have the passport when we got mandated and all of that, because we couldn't for various reasons, one including that we chose not to, um we also had to figure out what we were going to do because we were the outcasts, so to speak, of in society. So you know yeah. So
Mm.
sharing of in so that's how you come to be related to the PHA. So on the PHA's website, beg your pardon, Telegram channel, you've been sharing a lot of
Yes.
information on workshops, on ascension process, symptoms, all of that. Tell us a bit about why you're sharing information on workshops.
Wow, we've had a very where we do have our workshops. It's an incredible place. Very lucky to have this um, place where we can have workshops. We've had two so far. We had a gentleman, I can't remember his name, who taught us about a bit about common law, but law, LOR, which is sort of above common law. There's different types of law, but what he was telling us was that us as humans, we've stripped from our rights. So what he's trying to teach us is what our rights are and how to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is really important. And when I come out of these workshops, I'm like, hi, like, wow, okay, that's great. And I think, I drive home. Traffic officer stops me, bring it on. I'll know how to defend myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So, sorry, that's alarm. Um, Sorry, my apologies.
That's okay. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it. It's okay.
And then the second workshop we just had on Saturday, that went from 9 to 6:30. That was incredible also. That was like this gentleman, he brought us back into history because he said if you don't understand the history, you will not understand the future.
Yes.
And it made so much sense when he brought us through it. So he was talking about Alexander the Great as well. So it was really intriguing. And
Yeah.
also this woman brought food that him and his partner make, like beef jerky, pates, microgreens, and homemade crackers. So this is his way of survival because he was affected by mandates.
Yes.
And he's around New Zealand doing all these workshops. And we've got
Okay.
2 more coming.
Great.
So we've only done part one, so we've got part 2 and part 3 coming.
Okay. Okay. So that's great. So when you go into these workshops and you come out and you're feeling so transformed and so empowered or so informed, then you share it on Telegram because you want to share, you want other people to have the experience of this and become aware of what is actually what they need to know. So you're doing that from that perspective, right?
And also helping this gentleman because I feel for him. He's
Great.
educated himself to obviously to educate himself and his family, but also us. And I'm thinking, wow, why don't I try and help you?
Yeah,
That's
spread
how
the
I
word.
see it.
Yeah, spread the word.
Hosting everybody, spread the word to help
Yeah.
him as well. So that's
Yeah.
what it's all about, each other.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a very wonderful thing that you're doing because it's important to share information right now. It's important to tell people because someone, even if it's one person, might be having thoughts about these things. Because I know, speaking about being informed about, your rights, for example, or how you deal with certain things in terms of regulation and the law. When we got mandated, I I was quite like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because I need to know what my rights are. And I need
Yes,
somebody in New Zealand to tell me that, hey, because there were all sorts of things flying around at the time, right? And for
yes,
me at the time, I found Voices for Freedom, the voice of reasoning for myself. And then of course, now last year we had the People's Health Alliance. We've got so much coming through to us, sharing information, people willing to not give up on what they have learned all their lives. And then when they were sudden, like the NZ, is it NZ or
so
NZDSOS, the doctors.
yes,
um
yes,
I mean, they have been alerting from way before the mandates
yes,
anyway. And so these are people we really needed to be in touch with, because you need to understand what taking a stand for yourself meant, what you could and could not do, or what they could and could not do. So I feel like a lot of what's going on in our world at the moment is because of ignorance or just misinformation, you know,
yes,
um,
correct.
or notions that people are going on. So I really appreciate that you are still sharing this even now at this late stage down the track from 2020, because it's not stopped, it's still ongoing. The systems are broken. And part of all of this process to become informed about yourself, because we kind of gave it over our power away to the powers that be, because we thought these people have got the right idea. That's why we created them. That's why we vote in a government, for example, you know. So now we have to
Exactly.
take it back. Yeah.
Yes, we even
Mm.
we were talking about this in the as well.
Yeah. So sometimes your words
And
are breaking, are silencing. Just so you're aware with your technology. So maybe if you are
oh,
sitting, maybe
okay.
closer to your computer, if you can. There we
Yes,
go. Yep. Okay.
better.
Yes, that's better. That's better. I'm sorry. You were obviously looking very relaxed on the couch there, and
Oh, no, 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 that's okay. As long as you
yeah.
can hear me.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you're sharing this. Now, I'm going to come back to current energies, but because I feel this question, I really want to give it the next question good airtime. You had some part to play in the Hawke's Bay when the cyclone hit it in
Yes,
February, because you were there with
yes,
Rachel. You told me last
yes,
week. Tell me how this all
definitely.
happened.
Um, well, Rachel had the idea to go down, and we were talking about it. She was telling me, and I said, "Well, just let me know if you need any help." So there we were. But my son went down to help as well, and he came back after 5 days, and he was quite shaken up. And he's also been at the protests in Wellington for 23 days, so that might have come back to him as well.
Yes, of course.
After
Yeah.
he did. And he said, "I know what you're like, Mum. I don't know if you can handle it when you go to Hawke's Bay. It will
Okay.
really affect you." Said, "Okay, okay, I'll think about it." And then part of me wasn't going to go, part of me was, and I said, "No, I need to put my big girl's pants on and just do it."
Exactly. Yeah.
So I got to do it for everybody. Um, and also for Rachel. I didn't want her to go on her own because
Yeah.
it was going to be a longer trip. It was only, it's meant to be 5, 6 hours to Hawke's Bay normally, and it took us
Yeah.
about 11.
Yes, she said
So,
that. She said that. And it's, yeah.
yeah. And she had a lovely friend that made us a lovely little lunch with even little labels like, this is morning tea, this is lunch. And
Oh,
Incredible.
nice.
And then she came with sage to protection
Good.
around us.
Good.
A lot of people gave us donations, food, clothes.
Yes.
Um, and then, yeah, off we went. So it was good. We took turns. We stopped on the way.
So you
And we
took
got
turns
to,
to drive? Is that what you mean when you say you took turns?
yes,
Good.
yes,
Good.
we took turns. And then we tried to rest, like actually sleep while
Yeah.
the other one was driving, because it was mentally exhausting as well.
Yes.
We met lovely Kevin on the ground there, who had bought a camper van. So we slept in that, and that's where Rachel did the interview with herself
Yes.
in the caravan. While Kevin is an ex-army, so he knew his ins and outs and where to take us. So we just followed him,
Yeah.
and he's got a big van where we could put lots of supplies. And Rachel got a hold of someone who brought up colloidal silver.
Yes.
So in the evenings we were filling up bottles, little different sized bottles and droppers for people to protect them from the silt, which has affected them really badly in the eyes, the ears, and nose, and
Right.
breathing it in.
So where was the salt coming from? Coming from the sea?
Comes from under the ground.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will ask stupid questions, but just
No,
because
no,
I
no.
don't know the answer.
Okay.
And I say stupid
Uh,
questions as in a good way. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's okay. Because on the earth there are 4 different levels, and the salt
Okay.
is right down the bottom. But the power, there must have been amazing power of that income, the incoming water at an extent of levels of water that it lifted the whole ground up.
So all of that came up
Go
instead of
deeper down. You
yeah.
can't go deep in silt.
Yeah.
So obviously
Okay.
the
Yeah.
silt is at the top.
Right.
That's where we saw houses underneath.
Okay.
It was like, wow, there was a moment where and Kevin did warn us, he goes, you might get frightened going down this particular road. And like I was driving and crying
Oh
while
no.
while Rachel was filming,
Oh
like
wow.
16, she was going, oh, so all these swear words were coming out of her mouth, and I was trying to control myself and crying. And we were just talking about it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
We were such in shock, and got such wonderful naturopaths in our group. They gave us shock drops, and when
Okay.
we got the camper van, we took them
Okay.
and
Okay.
had a breather. And
Yeah.
anyway, next day we went and we did the same. We just
Okay.
keep going.
So you just went visiting people at their houses, providing supplies for them. So when you were there, were you talking to people? Like, were you just giving this to anybody, or you knew who you were going to? Did you have like PHA people there that you were going to? How did it work?
Oh, we followed Kevin. He knew where to take
Okay.
us.
Okay. So Kevin
And
knew.
also, Rachel was on her phone like 24/7,
Yeah.
basically. People were contacting her all the time. And Alexia obviously was contacting her. And also, we needed to pick up supplies
Yeah.
uh, from the chemist and natural healing shops. There was 2 in the little town,
Yeah.
in Hastings. And then they were all amazing. They were just
Okay.
donating, and we were just throwing things in the van, and also in Rachel's car.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we went to Esky Village,
SK.
Valley.
SK. Yeah.
Oh, that was really harsh, really
Okay.
harsh. Rachel only been there a week before, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. She said that. She
It
said
was,
she'd
it
been there a
was
week before
shocking.
with family, and then
Yeah.
suddenly, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
we went up to the top. The top was fine, but it was everything down the bottom was wrecked. So we couldn't talk to the owner because he just didn't want to talk to anyone, which is understanding. But when we approached people, they were sort of backed off, like they were in like fight mode.
Yes.
You know, who are you? Are you the media, the government? Why are you here? You know, the
Mm.
way spoke to them and approached them was really, really important. And so, yeah, we were able to help people up there, and we connected them with PHA, because
Yes.
that's what we were, because obviously people didn't know about PHA, so we connected them with that. And Kevin is still doing this.
Okay.
And we met
Okay.
a lady called Kim, which is Kevin's friend, and she's also down on the ground helping and supporting. And she texts me when they're needing things
Okay.
down in Hawke's Bay. So if anyone's going down to Hawke's Bay, please contact me or Rachel or Alexia
Okay.
and let us, please.
We will put some information in the description box for people to do that. I mean, we knew when that happened that this cleanup operation was going to take months and months because it was not going to be so easy. Were you feeling a little bit unsafe in the Hawke's Bay at the time when you were there?
Well, probably not with Kevin, because he's ex-army and he knew what he was doing.
Okay.
His
Right.
house is protected. So but one night I did hear
Say this
lots
about the houses again. We missed it.
he's got security
Oh,
around the
right.
house
Okay.
and also outside. So there's a I'm sorry, I can't say too much,
No, don't.
but
It's okay.
okay, we were quite safe there, but there was one night in the middle of the night where I had heard these odd noises outside, and oh my gosh, I'm not going out in case something happens to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Rachel. And all it was a cat just going
Okay.
through the road.
Okay.
But we did
Wow.
see gangster, like, gangs on their bikes going
Yes.
through the city, like through the.
Yes.
But that's all, because a lot of roads where we wanted to go down, we couldn't go down, because we would have if there weren't the council there. The council were in their little bright jackets, sitting there on their phones, saying you can't go down.
Okay.
How I is get off your big butts and go out and help instead of just
Yeah.
standing there.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Rachel had to pull me back. We went
Oh,
through a process of anger,
yeah. 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 I mean,
frustration, because nobody was helping. No government, no army. It was unbelievable.
wow.
Yeah.
It's just incredible that kind of thing that happened in the Hawke's Bay. And I mean, the mainstream were reporting very different things, as you know. And so, I just, yeah, it was a very sad time. And yeah, how does anybody want us how do they want us to feel confident about them if that was the response, that was the behavior?
But isn't that the purpose of it? Isn't that what was planned? And then they know how New Zealanders are, so kind and friendly. Well, what? They're all going to help each other, so why do we need to go and help? That's what went through my head.
Well, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I won't say it.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
True.
but I'll say this word, geotechnology is what I'll say.
Yes.
And I can explain that later if you
Yeah,
need it,
sure.
but I won't be explaining it on, for purposes of the interview. Yeah, I want to talk about, is there anything else you want to tell us about the Hawke's Bay? Because I'm conscious of our time, but
Yes, no, that's okay. Um, oh, the people were amazing. They were like when they got our confidence, then they were quite open, but it took a little while, and I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, they
So,
were going
and
through
I,
some interesting things, right? They were being raided, they were being robbed from what
yes,
in their own homes, there was looting going on and all of that. And so people, I understood, got together and were creating neighborhood watches within their own streets to protect themselves because uh, they were being attacked by whomever, gangs, looters, whomever, and they needed to take a stand for themselves.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Go on, sorry.
psychological, it's a psychological warfare.
Yes, yes. Agreed, agreed. So I think it's almost like we are going through a transformation process on the planet. And the things that are happening, some of them are really drastic, like a cyclone, whether that be geoengineering or whether that be natural. Um, you know, we have to respond because when a cyclone's hitting the zone you're in or that you live in, you have to do something. And then you have all these other elements like crime happening at the same time. And so it's a big transformation that we're going through here to be able to stand on our own, maintain our personal sovereignty, maintain our the sovereignty of our homes, all that stuff.
Yes.
So, it's about let's keep going because this is only meant to get better than this, right? Which then brings me to you sharing information on ascension symptoms. Ascension symptoms, wow.
Ascension symptoms. Sorry.
Ascension symptoms. You shared a little document on Telegram about ascension symptoms. You know how the planet is ascending, and we are talking about all of us going through the same ascension process.
Yes.
And so we have symptoms because it's manifesting itself in terms of sickness, in terms of headaches, in terms of not knowing what to do, feeling listless, all that stuff. I read it out on radio on Friday, that ascension symptom list. So you shared it, but I don't think you recall sharing it or something. Am I right? But it's okay. We don't have to talk about it because
I just share so much stuff. I probably do too much, and yeah.
So I'll just say for
I
want of,
apologize.
I will explain ascension symptoms to our listeners or our audience. Ascension symptoms, if you haven't watched one of the other videos or listened to the radio show, ascension symptoms are physical symptoms we're feeling, and they're really intense. And they're really intense because right now we are ascending within ourselves. We are ascending from the third and fourth dimension into the fifth and higher dimensions, right? And so the body is receiving all of the light codes that are coming down. We're receiving what? A solar, because of the solar flashes and solar flares and the human resonance and all of that, our bodies are adjusting to those things that downloads we're getting from the universe. And so the response from the body is, whilst it's receiving this and balancing out how these codes and things um fill the body up or balance out the body, it's also the body is it's almost like having a side effect where you get inflammation in the joints. The inflammation is worse than normal. Or you might experience things like you feel like you're not quite in your mind space here, or you're crossing timelines and you can feel the wobble from one timeline to the other, from this timeline to another. You are being able, sometimes you go to bed and you're just dreaming all the time. You're not, can't sleep, all of those things. So that is what ascension symptoms are. And one of the documents you shared, Rosa, had some of those in there. But it's good that you've learned something new now, right?
And then also the 1st of May, what's going to be happening as well with meditation.
Yes. So tell us about that, because I will share it in the description box, but tell us what's happening on the 1st of May, if you can.
Okay, so what we have, not just me, we have an amazing friend called Sally who actually grows vegetables and fruit to sell to the markets, and she lives nearby me. So we get to see each other a lot. Now, there's a special meditation going to be happening on the 1st of May at 5:06 in the morning.
This is 5:06 a.m. New Zealand time,
so this
right?
is New Zealand time, sorry, yes. And
so for anybody who's
energies
watching,
are going to be the...
Sorry, I'll just go back to the time and then you can tell us the rest. So for anybody who's watching it and you're not in New Zealand, try and find out what 5:06 a.m. New Zealand time on the 1st of May is for you in whatever time zone you are. Okay, so carry on. Tell us more about it.
Okay, and it's called Portal of Light Activation. and there will be a link where you can click on, and there will be the meditation at the same time, which you'll be going through it while you're obviously doing meditation.
So it's a guided meditation?
Guided meditation. Yes.
Yeah.
And there has to be a gathering of 144,000 people
Okay.
all at the same time.
Yeah, it's like the book of Revelation, the 144,000 in the book of Revelation in the Bible.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is the purpose of the meditation? Do you know?
It's a critical mass, ultra powerful energies.
Okay.
Get at this time, because that's when all the changes happen.
Yes.
And Sally was telling me if we don't do this, things will be worse. So we need to all do it together at the same time. But
Yeah.
this can also this link you can also send to your family and friends overseas, so they can do it at the same time. It's a portal of life activation. That's
Portal
what
of
it's
life
called.
activation.
The energies of the age of Aquarius to the next level.
Great, great. Because New Earth has just been birthed. It's like, you know,
Exactly.
just come through the birthing pains of New Earth. It's just stepped into being. And this was supposed to be, from my understanding, the 21st of March this year was, I think, day one of New Earth. So it's very, very early into the age of, into New Earth. And that has to do with the age of Aquarius because we're entering the age of Aquarius. I just want to point out, whilst we're talking about that, that on, so there's the eclipses in Auckland. So there's an eclipse that week, May 5th and 6th, I'm understanding, is a lunar eclipse.
Yes.
So you know, when we do this kind of thing, we kind of leading up to the eclipses. We've just come through one last week, and now we're going to have, last week was the solar eclipse in Aries, and we also had the new moon at the same time. And now this next one is the lunar eclipse, and I think it's happening around the full moon because it's what, 2 weeks away, thereabouts, just about next week sometime, right? Or the following week. No, it's the following week. So 2 weeks away. Yeah, so that's really good to have that information. And, you know, to everybody, I encourage you to get on there and join the rest and do the meditation.
Yes.
So,
and also, sorry, I'd just like to add on the link. So there's a lot of information plus a video. So feel free to look at it and listen to it beforehand, so you're mentally prepared. Good. And also, it has a time zone for around the world.
Okay, great. That's good to know. All right, so I'm looking at the time, and we're really cutting it fine before you have to leave to do work for the afternoon, Rosa.
Okay.
I am going to, that was anything else you wanted to share? Is there anything else you want to share before we say goodbye to you?
I'm just very proud to actually be in this universe and world at the moment with such incredible people. I found my tribe. I think, haven't I met you before? But it wasn't the right time. So I think life is all about timing as well. And I'm actually at my happy place at the moment, although we're having lots of bad things happening around us, but I feel safe and comfortable because we do have each other. And like People's Health Alliance is for the people, by the people.
Yes. So I think that's a great thing you said there. And also right now, in spite of all of that, which is going on in the world, the work we have been doing for years and years and years in terms of meditation and holding the light and space for ourselves and the planet and the people and the creatures on the planet will put us in the space of where we are now, that we are happy, that we are okay, despite whatever is going on. And so I like what you said, and I think that is an important thing. So for all of us that are listening and watching, I hope you're encouraged by this conversation today. I hope you've had a slight inkling of what happened in the Hawke's Bay in February. And also remember that people are still needing assistance. So just because there's no focus on it doesn't mean it's gone away. And I will get all the information and I'll put it in the description box that Rosa has been talking about so that you are able to access it as well.
Thank you. God bless.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, for giving us your time.
No, thank you.
For everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And I just almost feel like I need to say a light language before we go, because we did one before we came on air. So I will say something. Orama ke te karama saramo kushna farane ke toto faia. E te karamo sanama kata farana ke te potokore. Iskoro matakaravashtana korotekera. E te koromo askaramateke. E te forokoshna keraye. Thank you. Okay. I think we were having some assurance. I don't know how you feel about that. I think the galactics and the angelic realms, the higher realms, are just giving us some assurance. Everything will be okay. We are good. We are good. All right. Thank you so much, Rosa. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all that you're giving to us here today on the channel, but to humanity, to the planet. You galactic warrior, you have come to fulfill your purpose in this time and space. And yes, you are in the right place with the right people. Sorry, this is me just getting all of it excited because I love to meet fellow galactic warriors. Yeah, baby. Great. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Keep reaching for the stars. This is the Great Awakening Generator. I am your host, Rose McNair. We are saying goodbye.
Kia kaha.
Thank you. Bye-bye.